Hello everyone, my name is Oliver Kwach and I welcome you to today's lecture. I am from Southeastern Kenya University, Department of Biomedical Sciences. Today I'm going to take you through the concepts of basic immunology. First, we will start by defining some basic terms that we will encounter throughout the course of this lecture. We'll start by defining the term immunology. Here I defined immunology as the study of structure and functions of the immune system. Take note of the structure and functions of the immune system. The second term is immune system. Here I defined immune system as a system made up of cells, tissues and molecules that mediate resistance to infections. The next term is immunity. Here I defined immunity as the resistance of a host to pathogens and their toxic effects. The fourth term and the very last term is immune response. Immune response here is a collective and coordinated response to the introduction of foreign substances in an individual mediated by cells and molecules of the immune system. Let's go straight to the roles of the immune system. Role number one is defense against microbes. And what are microbes? Microbes are tiny or microscopic living organisms that cause diseases, e.g. bacteria and viruses. Role number two is defense against growth of tumor cells. The immune system does this role by killing the growth of tumor cells. Role number three is homeostasis. Homeostasis is any self-process by which biological systems tend to maintain stability while adjusting to conditions that are optimum for survival. Let's look at what makes up the immune system. Immune system is composed of organs, cells, and molecules. The table below shows the organs, the cells, and the molecules that make up part of the immune system. Let's look at type of the immunity. There are two types of immunity. Type number one is innate immunity, also called non-adaptive immunity. This is the first line of immune response, and it relies on mechanisms that exist before infection. The second type of immunity is acquired immunity, also called adaptive immunity. It is the second line of response if the innate immunity fails. It relies on mechanisms that are adapted after infection or after exposure to a pathogen. This kind of immunity is handled by T and B lymphocytes or T and B cells. One cell determines one antigenic determinant. In other words, this type of immunity is highly specific. Let's look at each type of immunity in details. Type number one is innate immunity. This is based on genetic makeup of an individual, and it relies on already formed components. The rapid response is very rapid and it takes place within minutes of the infection. And like I said earlier, it is, and compared to the adaptive immunity, this type of immunity is not specific, in that same molecules stroke cells respond to a range of pathogens in a similar manner, and it has no memory. Same response after exposure is repeated. and does not lead to clonal expansion. Mechanisms of the innate immunity. Mechanism number one is mechanical barrier or surface secretions. This includes the skin, pH, acidic pH in the stomach that kills bacteria, and the cilia along the respiratory system. Mechanism number two is humoral mechanism. This mechanism is lysosomes, basic proteins, and complement interferons are responsible for this mechanism. Mechanism number three is the cellular defense mechanisms. Natural killer cells, neutrophils, macrophages, mast cells, and basophils are responsible for this kind of mechanism. The second type of immunity is the adaptive immunity, and is the second line of response. It's based upon resistance acquired during life. Take note of acquired. It relies on genetic events and cellular growth and responds slowly compared to the first mechanism, or rather innate mechanism, and it may last over a few days, and it is specific compared to the innate mechanism that was not specific. Here each cell responds to a single epitope on an antigen, and it has memory compared to the innate response that had no memory. Here repeated exposure leads to faster and stronger response, and it leads to clonal expansion.